Jai Gurudev. Today we are speaking with some of the leading experts from the Art of Living Foundation and officials of the Vedic Dharma Sansthan to gain insights into His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji's instrumental role in resolving the long-standing Ayodhya dispute, particularly regarding the Ram Mandir. Let's dive into the history and impact of Gurudev's involvement. Your journey in your Art of Living's journey involvement in resolving the Ayodhya dispute began in 2003. Can you share with us what initially led for all of you to get involved in this delicate issue? Gurudev has always believed in fostering peace and unity, especially when communities are divided. In 2003, when the situation surrounding Ayodhya was increasingly tense, he felt it was essential to start a dialogue between the conflicting parties. His message has always been to bridge divides through dialogue, understanding, and compassion. So, your team was also part of the mediation panel that presented a sealed report to the Supreme Court. Could you elaborate on the nature of that mediation and how it led to the eventual Supreme Court verdict for the construction of the Ram Temple? Yes, the mediation process was initiated as an attempt to resolve a centuries old dispute peacefully. Gurudev, along with the other respected figures, engaged in discussions with both Hindu and Muslim leaders, encouraging them to set aside historical grievances in the interest of communal harmony. His focus was always on finding common ground, guiding both sides to come to an agreement that would be spiritually, culturally, and legally sustainable. The mediation panel's report to the Supreme Court in 2019 was a culmination of years of tireless effort and strategic discussions that laid the foundation for the temple's construction. What specific contributions did His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji make in ensuring that both Hindu and Muslim communities were represented fairly in these dialogues? Gurudev's approach was always rooted in deep empathy. He worked to create an environment where both sides felt heard and respected. He encouraged open hearted discussions where the focus was on mutual respect and reconciliation, not on scoring points or engaging in political gamesmanship. He also emphasized the importance of historical understanding, highlighting that both communities had a deep connection to the site, which needed to be acknowledged. There is much said about the legal dimensions of the case, but Gurudev's approach seems more spiritual. How did his teachings and spiritual wisdom influence the mediation process? Gurudev's spiritual perspective was central to his approach. He stressed that a true resolution could only come from a place of inner peace and self awareness. His teachings on meditation, forgiveness, and the importance of overcoming ego played a major role in ensuring that both sides approach the issue not from a place of fear or anger but from understanding and cooperation. This was key in reducing the intensity of the conflict and facilitating a peaceful resolution. Many may not realize the challenges involved in such a complex issue. Could you share some of the significant challenges Gurudev faced during the mediation process? One of the biggest challenges was dealing with the political and emotional weight of the issue. Ayodhya was not just a legal dispute, it was a symbol of deep religious sentiment for both Hindus and Muslims. Gurudev faced resistance from various quarters, but his focus never wavered. He remained patient, understanding that dialogue and peace building require time. There was also external pressures, but Gurudev always reminded everyone involved of the larger vision of peace, harmony, and mutual respect. In addition to his role in the legal and political processes, what was Gurudev's message to the wider public as the Ram Mandir verdict was being delivered? Gurudev's message was clear. The verdict was an opportunity for the nation to unite, not a reason for division. He appealed to people from all communities to respect the court's decision and to treat it as a step toward healing and progress. He also emphasized that the true spirit of the Ram Mandir is about fostering compassion, unity, and spiritual growth. The construction of the temple, he said, should be seen as a symbol of hope and love, not just a physical structure, but a living symbol of reconciliation. Looking back on this journey, how do you think Gurudev's involvement in the Ayodhya resolution has shaped his legacy? Gurudev's involvement in Ayodhya is not just a significant chapter in his spiritual journey, but also in India's story of reconciliation. His legacy is that of a peacemaker who used his influence to bring about harmony in a time of division. His work in Ayodhya will continue to inspire future generations to approach conflict not with hostility but with understanding and compassion. Finally, what lessons can the world take from Gurudev's role in the conflict? The world can learn the importance of dialogue in conflict resolution. Gurudev has shown us that even the most deeply rooted conflicts can be resolved when there is a commitment to peace, mutual respect, and the willingness to listen. His work reminds us that we are all part of the same human family and that love and understanding are the keys to overcoming even the greatest of challenges. Thank you for sharing these insights. It is clear that His Holiness Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankarji's efforts in the Ayodhya dispute have left a lasting impact on India's social and spiritual fabric. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev, it is an honor to speak with experts from the Art of Living Foundation and officers of the Vedic Dharma Sansthan today. We are focusing on the profound contribution of His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji to the Ayodhya mediation process, a role he has played since 2003. We will explore his approach and the impact of his mediation on the Ram Mandir verdict. Gurudev, your involvement in resolving the Ayodhya dispute has been critical. How did you first become involved in this process and what prompted you to initiate the mediation process? Yes, Gurudev's involvement in the Ayodhya issue is rooted in his lifelong philosophy of peace, dialogue, and harmony. Since the early 2000s, Gurudev recognized the urgent need to address the increasing tension around the Ayodhya issue, which had deep historical and emotional significance for both Hindus and Muslims. He felt a moral responsibility to foster dialogue between the two communities and promote an atmosphere of understanding. By 2003, when tensions were escalating, he took concrete steps to bring the leaders of both communities together for peaceful discussions. In 2017, Gurudev was appointed to the Supreme Court's mediation panel, a body that worked toward a resolution. Can you elaborate on his contribution as part of this panel? Yes, Gurudev's role in the mediation panel was pivotal. His wisdom and spiritual approach guided the entire process. As part of the mediation team, Gurudev worked towards creating a neutral space where both sides could voice their concerns without fear of judgment or political influence. His involvement ensured that the process was conducted with deep respect for the traditions, beliefs, and feelings of both Hindus and Muslims. His guidance and spiritual insights were instrumental in facilitating meaningful conversations. The mediation process led to the submission of a sealed report to the Supreme Court. What were the key findings or recommendations that came out of that report, and how did Gurudev's mediation contribute to these? The sealed report was a reflection of the collective wisdom of the mediation panel, which included Gurudev and other respected figures. The primary recommendation was to find a peaceful and mutually agreeable solution to the dispute. Gurudev's emphasis was on the importance of dialogue and reconciliation rather than confrontation. His recommendations encouraged respect for the sacredness of the land while ensuring the legal and cultural rights of both communities were honored. Gurudev's central message in the report was that the solution should not be based on historical grievances, but on a shared vision for the future rooted in peace and communal harmony. The verdict in 2019 ruled in favor of the construction of the Ram temple at the disputed site. What was Gurudev's response to the verdict, and what message did he convey to the nation? Gurudev's response was one of gratitude and hope. He emphasized that the verdict should be seen not just as a legal victory for one community, but as a victory for the spirit of dialogue and reconciliation. He called on all citizens of India to treat the court's decision with respect and celebrate the spirit of unity that it embodied. Gurudev was quick to remind people that the Ram Mandir was not just a temple of Hindus, but a symbol of peace, understanding, and harmony for all communities. His message was clear: this was a moment to heal and come together as one nation. Gurudev, given that this issue was so politically charged and emotionally sensitive, how did you maintain neutrality and ensure that the voices of both communities were heard? Gurudev's approach was always rooted in neutrality and compassion. He did not take sides but focused on ensuring that all parties were treated with equal respect. Through his teachings and on mediation and meditation, he helped both sides navigate their emotions and approach the issue from a place of mindfulness. Gurudev encouraged participants in the dialogue to let go of anger and past grievances and to focus on finding a practical, peaceful solution. His calm centered approach made it easier for people to listen to each other, and this allowed the mediation process to continue smoothly. Many people associate the Ram Mandir issue with intense emotions and political debates, but Gurudev often speaks about the importance of spirituality in resolving conflicts. How did his spiritual perspective influence the mediation process? Gurudev's spiritual wisdom played a critical role in shaping the tone and direction of the mediation. His teachings on inner peace, forgiveness, and humility were key components in helping both parties step away from their rigid positions. He often said that the foundation of true resolution lies in overcoming ego and embracing compassion. In his view, Spirituality wasn't about religious dogma, but about embracing the core values of all faiths: peace, tolerance, and love for humanity. This approach allowed both Hindu and Muslim leaders to engage in meaningful conversations that transcended their immediate differences. One of the most important aspects of this entire process was the role of the Vedic Dharma Sansthan and the Art of Living Network. How did these organizations contribute to supporting Gurudev's effort in mediation? Yes, the Vedic Dharma Sansthan, in collaboration with the Art of Living, helped create a framework for the peaceful dialogue that took place through workshops, conferences, and dialogues. They worked to build bridges between the communities. The Art of Living Network supported Gurudev's vision by organizing peace building events that helped reduce tensions and promote mutual respect. These efforts, combined with Gurudev's direct involvement, helped lay the groundwork for the successful mediation process that ultimately led to Ram Mandir construction. Looking back on this process, what do you believe was the most significant impact of Gurudev's role in this historic issue? The most significant impact of Gurudev's involvement in the Ayodhya issue was the transformation of the approach to conflict resolution in India by demonstrating that dialogue, empathy, and spirituality could play a vital role in resolving a long standing issue. Gurudev set a powerful example for future generations. His role was not just about the legal and political outcome, it was about fostering a culture of peace, respect, and cooperation. He reminded us that while disputes may arise, our shared humanity and commitment to peace must always be the guiding force. As we conclude, Gurudev, what final message would you offer to the nation as we move forward with the construction of the Ram Temple and the spirit of unity? Gurudev's final message is simple but profound. Let the Ram Mandir be a symbol of love, unity, and the highest values of humanity. He urges all Indians to come together, irrespective of their religious or cultural backgrounds, to create a society that thrives on respect, compassion, and mutual understanding. This resolution is not just about building a temple, but about building a future where every individual, regardless of their faith, can coexist in peace. Jai Gurudev. Gurudev, your involvement in the Ayodhya issue dates back to 2003. What initially motivated you to get involved in resolving the dispute, and why did you see this as an important issue to address? Yes, Jai Gurudev, and Gurudev has always been deeply committed to peace, harmony, and conflict resolution. The Ayodhya dispute was not just a legal issue, but one that had far reaching implications for the unity of India. He saw the potential for fostering understanding and dialogue between the communities involved. As the tensions grew, Gurudev felt a moral responsibility to intervene and provide a platform for both sides to communicate, understanding that a peaceful resolution was in the best interest of all parties involved. Also, Gurudev was part of the Supreme Court appointed mediation panel that worked on resolving the dispute. Can you share what the mediation panel's primary objectives were and how his involvement influenced the process? Yes, the primary objective of the mediation panel was to find a peaceful, amicable solution to a deeply contentious issue that had divided the nation for decades. Gurudev's role was crucial because of his ability to remain neutral, empathetic, and focused on dialogue. His wisdom, spirituality, and approach to conflict resolution created an environment where both Hindus and Muslim communities could engage constructively. His involvement helped to keep the process respectful, avoiding the political and emotional volatility that often surrounds such sensitive issues. The mediation panel submitted a sealed report to the Supreme Court, which played a significant role in the final verdict. What were the key aspects of this report, and how did Gurudev's influence contribute to its success? The sealed report was a carefully crafted recommendation, a result of extensive discussions and consultations. Gurudev's influence in the mediation panel was seen in the report's emphasis on peace, cooperation, and mutual respect. He encouraged both sides to move away from historical grievances and focus on creating a solution that would benefit the future of the nation. His deep spiritual insights helped guide the panel towards framing a resolution that was not just legal but also ethical and spiritually fulfilling. Gurudev stressed that the solution had to be based on respect for all religions and communities, creating a framework for coexistence. The Supreme Court's verdict in 2019 allowed for the construction of the Ram Temple at the disputed site. What was Gurudev's response to this verdict, and what message did he convey to the nation? Gurudev welcomed the Supreme Court's decision as a step toward unity, healing, and reconciliation. He reiterated that the Ram Temple was not just a structure for Hindus, but a symbol of unity for the entire nation. Gurudev's message was clear. The construction of the temple should be seen as a moment to heal the wounds of the past, to promote peace, and to work towards a more inclusive society. He emphasized that the verdict should not lead to any further division, but instead should encourage people from all walks of life to come together for the common good of the country. How did Gurudev's spiritual teachings help in creating an atmosphere conducive to dialogue, especially when the issue was so emotionally charged? Yes, Gurudev's teachings focus on mindfulness, forgiveness, and compassion in a situation where emotions were running high. His teachings helped to lower tensions. He encouraged all parties involved to meditate and reflect on the importance of peace and mutual respect. Through his guidance, both Hindu and Muslim leaders were able to understand each other's perspectives and begin to see the conflict not as an insurmountable issue but as an opportunity for growth, dialogue, and peace. His ability to guide people to focus on the larger vision rather than the individual pains or grievances was a cornerstone of the mediation process. The Ayodhya dispute had political overtones as well. How did Gurudev manage to keep the mediation process free from political interference? Gurudev has always maintained a clear separation between spirituality and politics. He kept the mediation process focused on principles of justice, peace, and harmony, encouraging everyone involved to approach the issue with a sense of moral responsibility rather than political gain. His deep spiritual grounding helped him maintain neutrality, allowing him to engage with all parties fairly and ensuring that the process remained centered on the pursuit of a peaceful solution. His integrity and personal credibility helped to protect the mediation from political pressures. One of the challenges of this process was dealing with history and emotions tied to the site. How did Gurudev address the sensitivities and grievances of both communities involved? Gurudev's approach was always rooted in deep empathy. He understood the emotional attachment both communities had to the site, and he never dismissed these feelings. Instead, he guided them to understand that the dispute could be resolved in a way that acknowledged the historical and emotional significance of the site for both Hindus and Muslims. He advocated for the resolution to be one that allowed both communities to maintain their respect for the site while promoting peace and cooperation. His teachings on forgiveness were especially helpful in encouraging both sides to let go of their past grievances. How did the Art of Living Foundation contribute to the mediation efforts, and what role did he play? Did it play in ensuring the mediation process remained on track? The Art of Living Foundation played a crucial role in organizing dialogues, workshops, and peace building initiatives that laid the groundwork for the formal mediation. Through its network of volunteers and spiritual leaders, the foundation facilitated interactions between community leaders, providing a neutral space for discussion. Gurudev's teachings and his emphasis on spiritual practices like meditation helped calm the atmosphere, allowing for more constructive and less emotionally charged conversations. The foundation's contribution was essential in creating the environment that made the mediation possible. What impact do you think Gurudev's involvement in this process will have on future conflicts in India and beyond? Yes, Gurudev's involvement in the Ayodhya mediation sets an important precedent for resolving conflicts peacefully and respectfully. His approach focused on dialogue, empathy, and understanding is a model for conflict resolution worldwide. By successfully mediating one of the most complex and emotionally charged disputes in India's history, Gurudev has demonstrated that even the most difficult issues can be resolved when people prioritize peace over politics and understanding over division. His work will undoubtedly inspire future generations to approach conflict resolution with wisdom and compassion both in India and around the world. In conclusion, Gurudev, what is the legacy for Gurudev's role in the Ayodhya resolution? Yes, Gurudev's legacy is one of peace, harmony, and unity. His role in the Ayodhya resolution has shown that dialogue is the key to resolving even the most deeply rooted conflicts. His teachings continue to inspire millions to approach conflicts with patience, understanding, and love. The construction of the Ram Temple, while significant, is just one part of his broader vision of a peaceful, inclusive society. His work on Ayodhya represents a broader message that true spirituality transcends divisions and brings people together. Jai Gurudev.